Hello people. I'm going to go in an unusual direction in this video. This video is in the series What is going to happen when Pluto moves into the gate 41, and in each of these videos, like in this slide, each of the videos of the series, I fix them with a tag. So high, which is ground plan sort of stuff, medium, which is the most relatable kind of area, things that relate to everyday life and big events, and then low, which is just my personal experience. I've already to some extent tackled the larger political trends in relation to these transits, but real knowledge on political trends is virtually non-existent. So I don't know a great deal about the larger political trends in order to talk about them. But I can talk about my own life. I've experienced that 24/7. And if I explain how the transits manifested for me, then I'm hoping that we can capture what these transits mean, and then from there logically assume what might happen on the grander scheme where these transits are. So back to this little image here. The main function of this video is talking about Pluto's transit through the gate 61, the gate 60 and the gate 41. In my personal subjective experience, the line between the hexagrams is very, very significant astrologically. A lot of the times I don't really feel that the specific line of a hexagram makes a great deal of difference in our experience. But even the day that, say, a larger planet moves from one hexagram into the next, I find is a correlation with real world events. I've actually been through where the gate 61, gate 60 and gate 41, what they do ad verbatim in the past 5 videos. So I won't be going into that here. I will be skipping steps. I'll just say this event happened in this gate and only vaguely describe it. But I'm just going to show where these show up in my chart here. So obviously the gate 61 relates to my unconscious Mercury there. Very important in certain insights I won't go into. The gate 60 here relates to my gate 3.4. I've talked about this before. And I don't have the gate 41 or gate 30, but since this is such a large transit and since it is leaving the gate 60, I do theorize that it still affects me. Pluto is a collective planet, so there's a possibility that a movement at Pluto will affect an entire economy, which of course will affect everyone, whether or not they have the hexagram 41 or the hexagram 30. I'll probably go into it at another time, but the unconscious gate 24, and obviously anything in the gate 61 that impacts that, has had a strong relationship with my conspiracy kinds of leanings. I always feel that the positive spiritual things that come from sources like the Law of One, which I linked to the gate 61 in an earlier video, it's kind of switched off when I go into conspiracy because it affects my unconscious Mercury gate 24. I'm just about to go into this, but I feel that Pluto going through the gate 61, the ultimate manifestation of that for me has been that I've let go of conspiracy, and the space that that's created has allowed me to go back to Law of One in relation to experiences I was having at the time. So I'll begin now. When I did a video before, which I have now deleted, I originally showed these specific dates going through the gate 60, and this is interesting, I think, to show just how the process works. The planet Pluto is going through here, retrograding back out and then going further up and retrograding and such. It's very obvious, very simple if you're familiar with human design, but I just thought I'd make that clear in my image because that was just too cumbersome. It was too much, didn't have enough space basically. I've actually gotten rid of the specific dates in relation to this retrograde and moving between gates and such, just for space. But this is Pluto's movement through the gate 60 in picture form. This is where we are right now. Pluto has just started going forward, going direct for its later movement for real into the gate 41. It does come back to the gate 60.6 for not very long. Outside of that tiny blip, once Pluto goes into the gate 41 after January 30th, 2025, it basically stays there. You won't be seeing any more of the gate 60. So I'm going to go through my experience of the gate 60. I'm going to reference the gate 61, which was relevant, of course. So when Pluto moved into gate 60 for real, the first point here, it probably went there before, but I got a new job. It was a very, very difficult job. And because I was suddenly in this experience of working a very difficult job, and because I am a very metaphysically inclined person that's always thinking of lessons and all this kinds of stuff, I started theorizing what could be the meaning of this. Of course, as it relates to my gate 3.4, and that specific planet has quite a lot to do with our life purpose, life path and such. So yeah, gate 60 is limitation. And the way we've experienced it, as I talked about in the previous videos here, is the kind of economic stagnation that is preventing us losing the light of the gate 61. But yeah, economic difficulties are very unpleasant, obviously. And I wonder whether Pluto moving into gate 41 is some sort of change in said economy. But anyway, as Pluto moves forward and as it moves back through these hexagrams, the entire process is a process of you move forward and you have certain ideas, then as something retrogrades, everything breaks down. And you reevaluate everything, and then when you move forward again, you have a new idea, and then it goes back and you reevaluate everything. For me, the process of the gate 60 was one of first thought was, oh, I've had bad luck in the past, and that's why I'm in this difficult position now. Then it became, oh, I'm not neurotypical, and that's why I've had these strange experiences in the past. And then finally it became, oh my God, my illness, my invisible illness, which was largely invisible even to me, has really screwed me up quite badly. And I needed a lot of medical care, blood tests around this kind of time. I've been in and out of hospital even. And this is the reason that I haven't gotten further in life and been able to get above this kind of work. So the gate 60 for me was a process of understanding the nature of the limitation. The nature of my limitation was more deeply understood. I've said before, the way I think these transits work, the way I think the entire body graph works, is that it's all happening. It's all in some way happening in every part of our charts. But until we get a transit in a certain place, we don't tend to have insight there. I've talked a little bit about this with myself in the gate 54. There are other points I find of interest in relation to this, but we'll just leave it there. The gate 60 for me was always an issue. That invisible disability I have was always causing absolute havoc in my life. But it wasn't until Pluto came in and really ground down into that limitation and made me realize it that I actually gained an understanding of it. After the first period of retrograde, it might not have been the exact first. If we go back further, maybe Pluto did enter the gate 60 earlier, but it wouldn't have entered the gate 60 for very long. But after the first period of experience, now I mentioned in a previous video here that I had a friend that kind of fell apart in lockdown. She wasn't doing well. Well, she killed herself, and I kind of stayed at work. I kind of tried to stay at work for a while, but eventually, especially with the incredible pressure I was under, I had to take a little bit of time off for mental health. And it wasn't conscious on my behalf, but that was at exactly this moment in time. And I've said before that the law of one and the human design, I believe, relate to the gate 61. In order to recover from the experience, the pain as such, of this event, I went back to the law of one and the human design for real, and I stuck with it. I haven't gone back on conspiracy. And so that was Pluto driving into the gate 61 for me. I think I kind of dragged out that manifestation of Pluto for a while. I think it should have probably have come earlier, but my lusty earthy self or whatever had got a bit stuck on conspiracy theory and wasn't easily letting go of that. There was another manifestation of the gate 61 for me that was relevant earlier, in that I got very, very heavily into dream interpretation during the first period of where Pluto was in the gate 61, and this was what allowed me to come off conspiracy, because conspiracy was originally used to push down schizophrenic leanings, and the dream interpretation seemed to have stopped that. So eventually that job ended. Obviously I wasn't well, wasn't particularly liked, and it's definitely relevant to the manifestation of Pluto, I believe. While Pluto was in gate 60.1.2.3, it was very grounded, gritty things. Like, I was working in this place, it was difficult. It was very lower chakra things, as in the first half of the hexagram. The job, like I say, ended. It was just, you don't enjoy it here, off you go. And then I was at home having blood tests, hospital appointments, and such, having to work on my health, which, this is only for the story really, only to kind of fill in what was going on. I got a new medical treatment come along during this time, and once I started taking that medical treatment, I kind of fell out of fight or flight and went into a kind of healing mode. And the healing mode came with a lot of healing pains, and I was technically more ill at this point than I had been when I was actually ill earlier, if you understand what I mean. So the manifestation of 60.4, 60.5, 60.6 in opposition to 60.1, 60.2, 60.3 is that it became a kind of higher refining of the problem that I now fully realise has been such a problem in my life. I've been unemployed, spending a lot of time just working things out, in a sense. Undoing a whole lot of the confusion that I used to have when the symptoms I was having had to be integrated into one being, since I didn't have an awareness that those behaviours were being caused by an illness. So anyway, I'm sitting at home. I was on disability for a while, but I came off that. Going to the job centre, trying to get jobs. And this is quite relevant to the gate 41, which is what I'll go into in the next video. And then we can try and think about what the manifestation of the gate 41 will be later. Thank you for listening.